Say what you want about the unevenness of Naruto as a series, and many of you have done just that, its titular protagonist formed the beating heart around which that franchise was constructed, and had an incredibly wide and impactful resonance to him that helped make Naruto the wild success that it was. Mangaka Masashi Kishimoto described the character of Naruto as a reflection of myself, and it's an apt comparison. Growing up, he idolized Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame, and hoped to one day himself be published in Shonen Jump, his own personal Hokage to pursue. For these priorities, he paid the price, at one point being 30th in his 31-student class. But as you all know, things ended up working out for Kishimoto here. Naruto feels real and powerful and inspiring to people worldwide because Naruto is real. Naruto is Kishimoto, and in a broader sense, Naruto is anyone who has ever suffered in service of their dream. Now, both Kishimoto and Naruto have achieved those dreams, and fighting through all the tribulations they faced along the way, be it Naruto's many foes or Kishimoto's battles with the intense rigors of weekly manga syndication, they've now reached a place of prosperity and relative peace, one of their primary tasks at this point being to look after and nurture the children they've fathered, literally in Naruto's case, but in a more metaphorical sense for Kishimoto. He's got his own next manga project in the works, but Naruto is still close to his heart, and as such he's supervising many of the aspects of what they call Naruto's new era opening project, namely its sequel Boruto, which he's handed off to those who helped him with the original, and who will now be taking those reins, the next generation if you will. This subtitle for Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, really captures the spirit of the work to a remarkable degree. At its most literal level, it tells us about how Boruto will be chronicling the stories of the next generation, the children of the cast from its preceding series, but those creating it are themselves the next generation in a metatextual sense. The first half of the two-person team handling the Boruto manga is writer Ukyo Kodachi, who proved himself during his collaboration with Kishimoto in writing Boruto Naruto the Movie, a wildly successful film that ended up grossing more than any other Naruto film had before. And at over $22 million, it beat out second place by a healthy margin, that film being its prequel, The Last, which grossed over $17 million. Artist Mikio Ikemoto was Kishimoto's third assistant, even designing a few characters, and after years of work under him, they'll now be in charge of shaping the visual identity of the manga. Both of these artists have had their successes, but for both of them now is the time to truly prove themselves as people worthy of carrying on Kishimoto's legacy. This same story exists within the staff behind the Boruto anime as well, with the director for the original Naruto and almost all of Shippuden, Hayato Date, stepping down and leaving Boruto TV in the capable hands of Hiroyuki Yamashita. Yamashita too has his roots in the Boruto film, having made his directorial debut there after years of maturation spent working on Naruto, where he storyboarded and directed some stellar episodes like 375, which featured the standout Kakashi Obito fight. He's clearly got a real devotion to this franchise that he's called home for these many years, and had to be hospitalized multiple times during Boruto's production due to overwork. This work ethic of Yamashita's can be a source of great creative power, but he's also at risk of being overwhelmed by it and hurting himself if he loses control. And so for Boruto TV, a seasoned master has been brought along to assist him, his own Jiraiya, if you will, Noriyuki Abe. Abe has directed high-profile shonen series such as Yu Yu Hakusho and Bleach, so he knows his stuff, and in his role as chief director for Boruto, he'll be able to handle some of the more managerial and supervision duties, allowing Yamashita the freedom to get more hands-on in his director role without overwhelming himself. The really fascinating aspect of Boruto for me has been watching these two elements come together and manifest themselves within it. As a joint project between the previous and next generations, the Boruto film features both perspectives prominently. The parent grappling with how much work he's devoting to his other responsibilities and whether or not he's doing enough for his children, and the child chafing under the burden of establishing his own sense of self-worth. Boruto TV is where these ideas truly shine in my eyes though, seeming like a more pure look into the mindset of this next generation. Ubiquitous throughout this series so far, to what I will admit is a somewhat heavy-handed degree, is the idea of Boruto as someone riding on his father's coattails. And that specific phrase itself is spoken 8 times in the second episode to make sure we understand that's what it's going for. Whereas in the film, Boruto struggles with the cheating he's tempted to commit in order to win, in Boruto TV he's a clear overdog, being ranked number 2 in his class behind only a student who's stayed back multiple years, thus granting him an age advantage, and going on to immediately best him even though this guy had been the best fighter in his own class even without that age advantage. This is not the story of an underdog fighting against all of the odds stacked against him as Naruto was. It's instead about shouldering the burden of expectations and perhaps unfair judgments when one is following in the footsteps of giants. Just as Naruto the character was Kishimoto, and Naruto the series the story of their journey, Boruto the character is shaping up to be Yamashita, Kodachi, and Ikemoto, with the series being their story. They've now got to establish that they deserve recognition for their own prowess, that they can be noteworthy for something beyond their lineage. Underdog stories, or at least an underdog element to one's story, are very common, because it's such an effective source of relatability to tap into. From Naruto himself to other cultural landmarks like the initially almost useless Luke Skywalker, there's a real power to this approach. And to go in the complete opposite direction with Boruto shows some real confidence and resolve. It almost feels like Boruto's advice in episode 1, "Don't let him pick on you, just teach him a lesson," was advice the creators were giving to themselves, and in a way they actually were. This obsession with lineage extends beyond simply Boruto, and another such character was the recipient of that advice, Denki. With his incredibly wealthy father, Denki is expected to carry on that legacy, and towards that end he's been given a strict curriculum to follow. When he resists, Denki is given the ultimatum that if he wants to pursue whatever path he desires, he must prove his strength. Just as those behind Boruto will have to justify this wildly different approach by proving it can be effective. I really can't stress enough just how perfect a marriage the setup of and situation surrounding Boruto is for exploring these ideas. Every character here has some baggage, some pedigree to uphold. In the context of the story, they must seek to live up to their parents, and in the context of the series, they'll have to live up to their parents as characters, prove themselves to be as interesting and entertaining. This aspect of family is what gives this series' central idea a fighting chance to have some real staying power, I believe. Being the overdog is not imminently relatable, but the expectations that come with it can be, and when you tie those expectations to one's family, you start approaching that universality Naruto had. Whether this idea of family legacy comes up in other long-running shonen like Dragon Ball and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or the burden of living up to one's parents surfaces in series like Neon Genesis Evangelion, the topic has served as the fertile soil from which many of Japan's most successful and widely impactful series have been nurtured and grown. And this is yet another set of footsteps the series is following in. Should it leverage it effectively, I believe Boruto has the power to create an engaging story dealing with parental expectations. Its series has the pedigree, its subject matter has the potential, and its staff has the passion. With its own destiny in its hands, it's now time to see how Boruto creates a name for itself. Will it be up to that task? Believe it. A big thank you to the wonderful Flip Anime, who I was able to hire to edit this video because of sponsored videos. And also my patrons, of course. Hey, did you know that if only 5% of my subscribers gave just $1 a video, I could afford not just my own livelihood, but I could pay Mike to do full-time editing for me as well, without any shilling? We're on our way there thanks to you guys. Special thanks to Sam, Remy Goldschmidt, Joji Matthews, Culver James Kamai, Chris Wagner, TeenCho37, MathWiz97, Zach Penrith, Greg Greenwell, Cherry Boy Writer, Car Keys, Valkion, Mickey's Stopwatch, Akai Kuroba, Justin Thompson, Kieran Rice, Raymond Tiffy, Indigo, and all of my other patrons in helping to enable and improve this content.